Coach, when you had a chance to go back and review the film, what were some of the things you liked and some things you didn't?
Did a pretty nice job on third down. Obviously, thought the guys played hard and aggressive, and for the most part tackled pretty well. Obviously, never like giving up points. So that touchdown late there, if you're a competitor, kind of bothers you. And then there's a few guys got behind us in the secondary that could have resulted in some big plays, and unfortunately, the ball was overthrown. So plenty of stuff to work on. I know that.
With a speedster like Memphis has in Calvin Austin, how do you work on slowing him down?
Well, they got more than just him. I mean, every guy out there looks to me like has elite speed, and so when you're in zone coverage, you got to do a good job of staying on top of routes and not getting run by. And obviously, man coverage, you're going to get in some foot races, and we got to do a good job of getting pressure and not allowing the ball to be held on for a long time for them to run by us.
With Sept, again, obviously he's only played 2 games there, freshman quarterback, but what kind of stands out to you with him? And just
he don't play like a freshman. I mean, I know his record in high school and where he's from. Obviously, he's a really accomplished high school quarterback, but you just look at the way he's operating. I mean, they're the number 1 offense in the country right now in terms of yardage per game. Number 1 offense in the country. Obviously, you don't expect that from someone being led by a true freshman, but he's doing it. So proof's in the pudding. The guy's a hell of a player.
Coach Leach talked a little bit about that touchdown at the end of the game and then the onside obviously after that. I mean, he kind of referred to it just as sloppy play at the end. How do you I guess try to limit that and get that out of the system?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'm trying to remember the exact play, but we give up a big pass and prevent defense essentially. And I got too vanilla with the play call in there, probably late. Just a few too many times going the same call. So that's just as much on me as it is the players. But I think it's just a game of 60 minutes, right? Doesn't matter what the situation is. You're trying to out execute your opponent. And obviously, we didn't get it done on that drive, and so you show the film and hopefully get the mistakes corrected, and it pays off on the next one.
I think NC State acknowledged how well you guys defended the outside run. Was that something you were pleased with the execution, or do you think that that's true that you did defend the outside run pretty well?
Oh, they got a couple through there. I think they popped a long one, and then fortunately Jet was, pursuing the ball hard, and we had a fortunate fumble, so that kind of negated what would be considered an explosive run. But for the most part, I mean, I give the guys credit. They got themselves physically and mentally ready to play, and emotionally ready to play. And they knew it was going to be a big time physical game, and they did what they had to show up prepared to go, and played with great effort. And obviously there's technique errors and assignment errors in there and things we got to get corrected and get cleaned up. But again, I'll always say it. Usually if you get yourself ready to play hard and play physical, you're gonna have a chance on defense.
How pleased were you with the pass rush? It seemed like it took a step forward, at least from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, I think some of that is maybe at times overblown. Obviously you guys did a good job. When we pressured, we got decent pressure. Heck, I think we had a sack and a 3-man rush there late. Randy Charlton beat a guy, and so that D-line did a nice job. I mean, I thought if I was had to pick which position group maybe performed the best, I would say our D-line. They upheld there in the bargain. They did physical in the run game and then generated some pressure when it was passed.
Having him,
did you feel like just the increased depth of the D-line, having Jack Harris and DeMonte Russell kind of back in the mix, was that kind of helpful for that unit, just being able to rotate a couple guys a little more?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so, because then maybe that means that we'll get continued results here.
Having Emmanuel Forbes step up and get a sack, was that big for you guys too, to have a quarterback do that?
I think it's always good when you can disguise a blitz and get a guy, and then I think we missed one earlier in the game. Kind of went to the wrong aiming point, but that was a huge play. It was 4th down, I believe, right? Yeah. So I mean, it was a big time loss, and he did a great job of getting enough of the quarterback's legs trying to spin out, and it caused a big minus play. So that was a big time play by him.
You mentioned Jett Johnson. Coach Leach had a lot of praise for him after Saturday's game. I mean, what has he done, I guess, in the offseason to take the next step?
Oh, I think Jett's, I keep repeating the same line, so you guys are getting tired of hearing it, but I mean, Jett he cares, right? He likes football, so he wants to know all the little details. He wants to know what his weaknesses are and how to improve upon them, and so, he shows up and gets to work, and those are the kind of guys we got. So it's fun to see their success show up on the field.
Game got a little chippy late, I guess, but your guys really weren't involved in any of that stuff. How, as a coordinator, how do you kind of instill that mindset in them to kind of play the next play and not get caught up in all that stuff?
You know, maybe I didn't notice it as much, because to me I didn't see anything that I would say was chippy. I would say that's two hard-nosed football programs who, you know, like to get after it, and they know the game's supposed to be played a certain way, and that's on edge. And I can't say enough about that last team we played. The way their defense flies around. I mean, obviously I'm a fan of a certain style of defense, and I'm a huge fan of them. So I thought that was just two teams who, you know, they're trying to take the aggressiveness out of the sport, but there's two teams who on that night decided, no, we're gonna you know, let it rip on the field. So I thought that was an awesome football game. And Memphis plays the same way. I mean, you watch them on offense, you can tell, you know, their head coach is an offensive line coach by trade. Not only do they understand how to run the ball and divide a defense, but man, they come off the ball, you know, they're rushing for dang near 300 yards a game. So, you know, they win the line of scrimmage. That you can tell that's a program that understands the more physical you are, the more aggressive you are, typically the better results it leads to. And they, you know, everyone wants to talk about, they got great speed on the outside. They can throw the ball. The quarterback's playing phenomenal. But you look at their low line and running backs. I mean, they are running people off the ball and dividing the defense and hitting huge seams. So we got a heck of a challenge trying to slow down that run game.
Being able to stop the Wildcat and react to the Wildcat, I should say, and stop the jump pass. How important was it to see your guys react so quickly to that trick play and get an interception on it?
Every now and then, right? Blind squirrel finds a nut, right? You know, they shifted out and we reacted properly, and the ball floated up, and we made a play, which is obviously critical down on the goal line, right? Prevent keeps points off the board.
How much of a challenge is it for the secondary to forcing them to cover the guys, but also be able to help out and stop this explosive, you know, running attack?
Yeah, I tend to. It's my belief that, right, if you're a DB, well, you're just involved in the run game as you are in the pass game, you know, and it's vice versa. If you're a D-line or a linebacker, right, you got to generate pressure. We're dropping his own coverage, so on every single play, you want to play good defense. It takes all 11, and so our guys are going to have to do a good job of, you know, when we're in zone coverage, being disciplined, obviously not getting bit up on play action or anything, but when it is run, come down a hall and get the guy on the ground.